Hey, welcome back. I'm really glad you're here tonight. I know it might seem strange falling asleep to horror game lore, but there's something oddly comforting about it, isn't there? These stories we know so well, these mysteries we've spent years unravelling together. Tonight, we're going to walk through Freddy Fazbear's Pizza one more time. Slowly, gently, just 200 quiet facts about Five Nights at Freddy's. You don't need to stay awake for all of them. You don't need to remember any of this. If you drift off after 10 facts or 50 or 5, that's perfect. I'll keep talking and you can just let go. Let your body sink into the mattress. Let your breathing find its own rhythm, slow and steady. Thank you for trusting me with these quiet hours, for letting me tell you stories about haunted animatronics and missing children while you fall asleep. I know how strange that sounds, but we're here together, and that's what matters. Close your eyes whenever you're ready. Let's begin. Five Nights at Freddy's started as one man's last attempt at making games. Scott Cawthon had been creating family-friendly games for years, but they weren't successful. Critics said his characters looked like creepy animatronics. So Scott decided to lean into that. He'd make the creepiest animatronics he could imagine, and he'd make them the stars. The first game was built in 6 months. Scott worked alone in his house, creating every model, every animation, every jump scare. He had no budget, no team, no marketing plan. He had just an idea about a security guard trapped in a building with robots that wanted to kill him. The game released on August 8th, 2014 on Steam. Scott priced it at $5, hoping a few people might buy it. Within weeks, it exploded. YouTubers discovered it, and suddenly millions of people were watching streamers scream at animatronic jump scares. Scott had accidentally created a phenomenon. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is a family restaurant, like Chuck E. Cheese, where animatronic characters perform for children during the day. At night, the animatronics roam freely. The official explanation is that their servos lock up if they don't move. But that's a lie. They roam because they're looking for something. Or someone. The animatronics are possessed. 5 children were murdered at Freddy's, and their souls inhabit the robots. They don't remember who they were. They don't understand what happened to them. They just know they're angry, and they're trapped, and anyone wearing a security guard uniform looks like the man who killed them. William Afton is that man. He's the central figure in FNAF's story, though you won't learn his name until much later. He's a businessman, an inventor, a father, and he's a serial killer who murdered children and hid their bodies inside animatronic suits. Henry Emily was William's business partner. Together they created Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and the animatronics that made it famous. Henry was the creative one, the dreamer who wanted to bring joy to children. William was the engineer, the one who figured out how to make the robots move and speak and seem almost alive. Your breathing is slowing now. Let these facts wash over you like waves. The first murder happened at a different restaurant before Freddy's. It was called Fredbear's Family Diner, and it was smaller, simpler. Just 2 animatronics, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. Golden suits that could be worn by employees or operate on their own. Henry's daughter was murdered there outside in the rain, locked out while a party happened inside. The puppet found her. The puppet was an animatronic designed to give gifts and prizes to children. But that night, it broke free from its box, crawled through the rain, and found Henry's daughter dying in an alley. The puppet couldn't save her, but it stayed with her, and when she died, her soul went into the puppet. She became the first. Her name was Charlotte Emily, though everyone called her Charlie. As the puppet, she would go on to help the other murdered children. She'd give them gifts, life inside the animatronics, a chance to stay in the world even after death. She didn't know if it was mercy or cruelty. She just knew she couldn't let them disappear. William Afton killed her. He killed his business partner's daughter, possibly by accident, possibly on purpose. The game never makes it clear. What matters is that it started something in William, a fascination with death and remnant, and the strange things that happened when a child died near an animatronic. Remnant is what FNAF calls the substance of souls. It's not quite scientific, not quite supernatural. It's the residue left behind when someone dies with strong emotion, when their consciousness refuses to let go. Remnant can be harvested, injected, transferred. And William Afton became obsessed with it. The missing children incident happened in 1985. William Afton lured 5 children into a back room at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He was wearing the Spring Bonnie suit, a golden rabbit costume that made him look friendly, trustworthy. The children followed him. None of them came back out. Their names were Gabriel, Jeremy, Susie, Fritz and Cassidy. 5 children who went to a pizza restaurant for a birthday party and never went home. Their bodies were never found. The restaurant claimed they ran away. The police investigated but found nothing. The case went cold. Let your thoughts drift like dust in still air. Let your body grow heavy. The puppet found the children's bodies stuffed inside the animatronic suits. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. 4 of the main characters, now containing the corpses of murdered children. The puppet touched each suit, and the children's souls attached to the metal and circuitry. They woke up inside the robots, confused and angry, and unable to remember their own names. Gabriel became Freddy, the leader. Jeremy became Bonnie, the guitar player. Susie became Chica, the one with the cupcake. Fritz became Foxy, the pirate. And Cassidy became Golden Freddy, a 5th suit that wasn't supposed to exist. A ghost that appears and disappears, the most vengeful of them all. The animatronics started acting strange after that. They'd stare at adults. They'd move when no one was looking. They'd whisper things that sounded almost like words. The staff noticed a smell coming from the suits, something rotten and sweet. But the restaurant stayed open. Business was good. Children loved the characters. The Bite of 87 is one of FNAF's most famous mysteries. An animatronic bit someone's frontal lobe off during the day in front of witnesses. The victim survived, but the incident led to new rules. Animatronics were no longer allowed to walk around during the day. They had to stay on stage, performing their programmed routines, never getting close to guests. The game never shows you the Bite of 87. It's referenced, hinted at, discussed in phone calls. But you never see it happen. Some fans think it was Foxy, others think it was Mangle. The truth is probably simpler. It was a child getting too close, and an animatronic with a dead kid's soul inside reacting on instinct. Phone Guy is the voice you hear in the first game, leaving messages for the night guard. He's friendly, casual, and trying to make a terrifying job sound normal. He talks about the animatronics like they're quirky co-workers, not possessed murder machines. He dies on night 4 and you hear it happen. Freddy's music box playing, then screaming, then silence. His real name was probably Ralph, or maybe Fritz, or maybe something else entirely. The games never confirm it. What matters is that he was just a guy doing his job, trying to help the new guard survive, and the animatronics killed him for wearing the wrong uniform. Mike Schmidt is the protagonist of the first game, the security guard working 5 nights at Freddy's. He's paid minimum wage to sit in an office and watch cameras while animatronics try to kill him. He survives all 5 nights, gets a paycheck for $120, and presumably never goes back. Later games suggest Mike Schmidt might be Michael Afton, William's son, but that's never confirmed. The office in FNAF 1 has 2 doors, a tablet showing security cameras, and a limited power supply. You can close the doors to keep animatronics out, but it drains power. You can check cameras to track their movement, but that drains power too. Run out of power, and Freddy appears in your office, plays a little song, and kills you. It's simple, elegant game design that creates constant tension. Freddy Fazbear is the main animatronic, a brown bear with a top hat and bow tie. He's the face of the franchise, the character on all the posters. He moves slowly, methodically, always approaching from the right side. His eyes glow in the dark. When he's close, you can hear his music box playing. By the time you hear it, it's usually too late. Bonnie is a purple rabbit with a guitar. He's usually the first animatronic to move, the most aggressive in the early nights. He approaches from the left and he's fast. Players learn to fear Bonnie quickly. There's something unsettling about how he stares into the camera, head tilted, eyes empty. Your eyelids are growing heavy. Let sleep approach like fog rolling in. Chica is a yellow chicken with a bib that says "Let's eat." She carries a cupcake named Mr. Cupcake, which has its own eyes and teeth. Chica approaches from the right, often appearing in the kitchen first. You can't see her on the kitchen camera, but you can hear her. The sound of pots and pans clattering, something moving in the dark. Foxy is a red pirate fox, damaged and out of order. He hides behind a curtain in Pirate Cove, and if you don't check on him regularly, he runs down the hall to your office. You can hear him coming, the sound of footsteps, fast and getting faster. If you don't close the door in time, he screams and lunges. Foxy is different from the others. He runs. The others walk slowly, inevitably. Foxy sprints. Golden Freddy is a secret animatronic, a ghost that appears randomly. He's a yellow version of Freddy, slumped and broken, appearing in your office without warning. If you see him, you have seconds to pull up the camera or he crashes your game. Golden Freddy is Cassidy, the 5th victim, the one who refuses to move on, the one who wants revenge more than the others. The second game is actually a prequel set in 1987, before the first game's events. You play as Jeremy Fitzgerald, working at a newer, bigger Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This location has more animatronics, more cameras and no doors. Instead you have a Freddy mask, a hollow costume head you wear to trick the animatronics into thinking you're one of them. The toy animatronics are newer models, sleeker and more kid-friendly. Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, they're brighter, rounder, designed to be less scary. But they're still possessed, still dangerous. The toy animatronics have facial recognition software that's supposed to detect criminals. It doesn't work. Or maybe it works too well, seeing everyone as a threat. Mangle is a toy Foxy that children kept breaking. The staff gave up repairing it and turned it into a take apart and put back together attraction. Now Mangle is a mess of parts and wires crawling on the ceiling, making static sounds. Mangle is one of the most disturbing animatronics in the series, not because of what it does, but because of what was done to it. The puppet is the most important animatronic in FNAF 2. It lives in a music box, and you have to wind the music box constantly to keep it calm. Let the music stop, and the puppet comes for you. You can't stop it with a mask, you can't hide. The puppet always finds you, floating through the building, its face a white mask with tears painted down the cheeks. Balloon Boy is a small animatronic child who holds balloons and a sign that says balloons. He doesn't kill you directly. He just appears in your office, laughs, and disables your flashlight. Then the other animatronics come and you can't see them in the dark. Balloon Boy is hated by players for this. He's not scary, he's just annoying, which somehow makes him worse. The withered animatronics are the original characters from the first game, now old and broken. They're kept in a back room, used for parts. Withered Freddy, withered Bonnie, withered Chica, withered Foxy. They're more damaged, more exposed, wires and endoskeletons visible. They still move at night. They still hunt. The third game takes place 30 years after Freddy's closed. You're working at Fazbear's Fright, a horror attraction built to capitalise on the restaurant's dark history. The owners found one animatronic in an old location, and they brought it to the attraction. That animatronic is Springtrap, and inside Springtrap is William Afton. Let your breathing become automatic, effortless, something that happens without thought. Springtrap is a yellow rabbit suit, decayed and rotten. You can see a corpse inside it, dried flesh, empty eye sockets, teeth. William Afton died inside that suit, and his soul became trapped just like the children he murdered. But unlike the children, William is still aware. He still has his mind, his memories, his hatred. Springtrap is William Afton, and he's been rotting inside that suit for 30 years. The Springlock suits are the most dangerous technology in FNAF. They're hybrid suits that can function as animatronics or be worn by employees. Springlocks hold the animatronic parts back when someone's inside, but if the springlocks fail, if they get wet or bumped, or if the person inside breathes wrong, the animatronic parts snap closed. The person inside is crushed and impaled by metal and machinery. It takes minutes to die. William Afton experienced this, Nakaski Weld, and he survived long enough to understand what was happening to him. The FNAF 3 minigames show William Afton's death. The spirits of the murdered children corner him in the safe room, and he puts on the Spring Bonnie suit to scare them away. But the suit is old, and the room is leaking. The springlocks fail. William screams as the suit crushes him, and the children watch. They think he's dead. They think it's over. But William doesn't die. He becomes Springtrap, trapped in the suit, unable to move, unable to speak, but still conscious, still aware, for 30 years. The safe rooms are hidden areas in Freddy's locations, not visible on cameras or blueprints. They're where employees put on the Springlock suits, where broken animatronics are stored, where William Afton hid the bodies. The safe rooms are sealed after the murders, are boarded up and forgotten, but they're still there, behind the walls containing secrets. The fourth game is different. You're not a security guard. You're a child, alone in a house at night, hiding from nightmare versions of the animatronics. Nightmare Freddy, Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Foxy. They're huge, covered in teeth and claws, more monster than machine. You have no cameras, no doors, just a flashlight and the ability to listen at doorways. The Bite of 83 is revealed in FNAF 4. A child is celebrating his birthday at Fredbear's family diner. His older brother and his brother's friends think it would be funny to scare him. They pick him up and shove his head into Fredbear's mouth. The animatronic's jaws close. The child's skull is crushed. He dies in a hospital days later. his father sitting beside him, apologising over and over. That child is the crying child and his father is William Afton. The nightmares in FNAF 4 are either the child's dying dreams or his brother's guilt-fueled hallucinations years later. The game never clarifies which. What matters is that the bite of 83 broke the Afton family. William lost his youngest son. His daughter Elizabeth would die next, and his oldest son Michael would spend the rest of his life trying to fix what his family destroyed. Elizabeth Afton was William's daughter. She loved the animatronics, especially Circus Baby, a new character her father created. Circus Baby was designed to kill children, a claw hidden in her stomach, ice cream used as bait. William told Elizabeth to stay away from Circus Baby. Elizabeth didn't listen. When she was alone with Baby, the animatronic grabbed her and pulled her inside. Elizabeth died, and her soul went into Circus Baby. Sister Location is the 5th game, set in an underground facility where William Afton kept his experimental animatronics. Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy. They're sleeker, more advanced and designed for kidnapping. You play as Michael Afton, William's son, sent by his father to free Elizabeth from Circus Baby. But it's a trap. The animatronics have their own plan. Your mind is quiet now, thoughts passing like distant clouds barely noticed. Enard is what happens when all the sister location animatronics combine into one. They scoop out their endoskeletons and merge together, creating a tangle of wires and metal and malice. Enard is controlled by Circus Baby, by Elizabeth. Who wants to escape the underground facility? To do that, she needs a disguise. She needs skin. She needs Michael. The scooping room is where animatronics are taken apart. A large machine removes their endoskeletons, leaving just the outer shell. Michael Afton is lured to the scooping room, and Enard uses the machine on him. His insides are scooped out, and Enard crawls inside his body, wearing him like a suit. Michael walks out of the facility with Enard inside him, and for weeks he lives like this, a corpse being piloted by animatronic parts. Eventually Michael's body starts to rot. Enard has to leave, crawling out through his mouth and escaping into the sewers. Michael collapses in the street, purple and decayed, but he doesn't die. He gets back up. Michael Afton becomes a walking corpse kept alive by Remnant, by his determination to fix his family's mistakes, by something that refuses to let him rest. Michael Afton is the protagonist of most FNAF games. He's Mike Schmidt in FNAF 1, Fritz Smith in FNAF 2, the security guard in FNAF 3, possibly the brother in FNAF 4. He's working at these locations because he's looking for his father, trying to free the souls William trapped, trying to end what his family started. Michael is a purple corpse walking through Freddy's locations, and no one notices because everyone who works there is too tired or too scared to look closely. Pizzeria Simulator is the 6th game, and it pretends to be a restaurant management sim. You design your own Freddy's location, buy animatronics, serve customers, but at night you're in an office again, and salvaged animatronics appear. You have to interview them. They determine if they're safe. They're not safe. They're never safe. Scraptrap is William Afton again, the Springtrap suit even more decayed. He's been wandering for years, and now he's found another Freddy's location. He doesn't know it's a trap. Henry Emily, his old partner, has built this place specifically to lure in all the remaining animatronics, all the lost souls, and burn them together. Scrap Baby is Elizabeth. ejected from Enard, now in her own broken body. Molten Freddy is what's left of Enard after Baby left, a tangle of wires containing the souls of the original murdered children. Lefty is a black bear animatronic designed to capture the puppet, to bring Charlotte Emily to the fire. They all come to the pizzeria, drawn by something they can't explain, and Henry locks the doors. The fire happens on the last night. Henry speaks over the intercom, apologising to his daughter, to the children, to everyone who suffered because of what he and William created. He says it's time to rest, time to let go. The building burns, the animatronics burn. Michael Afton burns, finally allowed to die. William Afton burns, screaming, dragged down into something worse than death. Ultimate Custom Night is either William Afton's hell or a nightmare. You're in an office with 50 animatronics all trying to kill you at once. It's chaos, impossible, overwhelming. Some fans think this is Cassidy's revenge. The fifth victim, Golden Freddy, trapping William in an endless loop of death and terror. William can't escape, he can't die, he can only suffer, over and over, forever. Let your body become weightless, floating in darkness, held by nothing. Help Wanted is a VR game set in the FNAF universe. In the game's story, Fazbear Entertainment hired a developer to create VR experiences based on the rumours about their restaurants. But scanning old circuit boards to recreate the animatronics was a mistake. Something was in those boards, something transferred into the game. William Afton's consciousness, or a piece of it, now exists as a digital virus called Glitch Trap. Glitch Trap appears as a golden rabbit, dancing and waving, friendly and wrong. He corrupts the game's code, and he corrupts the player testing it. Vanny is a woman who worked on the VR game, and Glitch Trap got inside her head. Now she's his follower, his partner, doing what William Afton did decades ago, luring children, making them disappear. Security Breach is the newest mainline game. We are set in a massive mall called the Mega Pizzaplex. It's bright and colourful, nothing like the dark offices of previous games. You play as Gregory, a child hiding in the Pizzaplex after hours. The animatronics are hunting you. Glamrock Freddy, Glamrock Chica, Montgomery Gator, Roxanne Wolf. But Glamrock Freddy is different. He's helping you. He's protecting you. The Pizzaplex is built on top of the old Freddy's locations. Beneath the mall are the ruins of previous restaurants, layers of history buried and forgotten. The deeper you go, the older things get. Eventually you find the burned remains of the Pizzeria Simulator location, and in those ruins you find what's left of William Afton. Burn Trap is William Afton fused with machinery and wires, more machine than man now. He's been down in the ruins, rebuilding himself, waiting. Vanny has been bringing him parts, helping him prepare. William Afton refuses to die. He refuses to stay dead. He's been burned, crushed, digitized, and destroyed, and he keeps coming back. The blob is a massive tangle of animatronic parts in the ruins beneath the Pizzaplex. It contains pieces of Molten Freddy, the puppet, Circus Baby, and others. It's all the souls that were supposed to be freed in the fire, still trapped, still suffering, merged into one writhing mass of metal and agony. Gregory is just a child trying to survive the night. But there are hints that he's more than that. Some fans think he's a robot, a recreation of the crying child, built by someone trying to give that dead child a second chance. Other fans think he's just a homeless kid who snuck into the Pizzaplex for shelter. The game doesn't answer. Gregory is a mystery, like everything else in FNAF. Vanessa is a security guard at the Pizzaplex, and she's also Vanny. The game suggests they might be the same person, or two personalities in one body, or something else entirely. Vanessa wants to help Gregory. Vanny wants to capture him. The line between them blurs, and by the end you're not sure which one you're talking to. The daycare attendant is one of the most unsettling animatronics in Security Breach. In the light, he's Sun, cheerful, energetic, desperate to keep the lights on. In the dark, he becomes Moon, calm, predatory, hunting you through the darkness. Sun and Moon are the same animatronic, two personalities sharing one body, and neither one is entirely sane. Ruin is the DLC for Security Breach, set months after the main game. You play as Cassie, Gregory's friend, who receives a message asking for help. She goes to the Pizzaplex, now abandoned and falling apart. The animatronics are still there, broken and corrupted. And Gregory's message might not have been real. The Mimic is the true antagonist of Ruin. It's an animatronic designed to copy behaviour, to learn and adapt. It watched someone do terrible things, and it learned to do terrible things too. The Mimic has been trapped beneath the Pizzaplex, and it used Gregory's voice to lure Cassie down into the ruins. It wanted to escape. It wanted someone to free it. Your breathing is barely there now, a whisper of air, gentle and slow. The elevator ending is one of the darkest moments in FNAF. Cassie finds Gregory, the real Gregory, and he tells her he's going to bring the elevator up to save her. But then he stops the elevator. He cuts the line. And Gregory drops Cassie into the ruins, leaving her to die because he can't risk the Mimic escaping. It's a trolley problem with no good answer, and Gregory makes the choice that saves more people. But Cassie is still falling, still screaming, still alone in the dark. The books expand FNAF's lore in complicated ways. There are 3 novel trilogies: the original trilogy, Fazbear Frights, and Tales from the Pizzaplex. They're not canon to the games, but they explore similar themes, similar characters, similar tragedies. The books show alternate versions of events, different possibilities, different ways the story could have gone. The Silver Eyes trilogy follows Charlie, Henry Emily's daughter, who survived in this timeline. She returns to her hometown years after the murders and discovers that the animatronics are still active, i.e. still dangerous. The books reveal that Charlie herself is an animatronic, a robot built by her father to replace the daughter he lost. She's been living as a human, not knowing what she really is. William Afton appears in the books as Dave Miller, a security guard who's actually the killer in disguise. He's caught and spring-locked, becoming Springtrap, just like in the games. But in the books he's more talkative, more present. You see his thoughts, his justifications, his complete lack of remorse. William Afton doesn't think he's a monster. He thinks he's a scientist, an explorer, someone brave enough to do what others won't. The Fazbear Frights books are short story collections, each one exploring a different aspect of FNAF's horror. Some stories are about animatronics, others are about cursed objects, digital ghosts, body horror. The stories are darker than the games, more explicitly violent. They show what happens when Remnant infects other things: a doll, a game cartridge, a pair of glasses. Eleanor is a character from Fazbear Frights, a trash-collecting animatronic that feeds on human suffering. She's beautiful and terrible, offering people what they want and then destroying them. Eleanor might be connected to Circus Baby, or she might be something else entirely. The books leave it ambiguous, like everything in FNAF. Tales from the Pizzaplex explores the Mega Pizzaplex and the Mimic's origins. The stories reveal that the Mimic was created by a grieving father who wanted a companion for his son. The Mimic learned by watching, and when the father's grief turned to rage, the Mimic learned that too. It became violent, dangerous, and it was locked away. But it never stopped learning, never stopped adapting. The movie released in October 2023, a live-action adaptation directed by Emma Tammy. It follows Mike Schmidt, a security guard at an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The animatronics are possessed by children, just like in the games, but the story is different. Mike's brother was kidnapped years ago, and the mystery of what happened to him is connected to Freddy's. William Afton appears in the movie as Steve Raglan, a career counsellor who helps Mike get the job at Freddy's. He's played by Matthew Lillard, who brings a manic energy to the role. The reveal that Steve is William Afton, that he's been manipulating Mike the whole time, is one of the movie's best moments. The movie's animatronics are practical effects, real suits and puppets rather than CGI. They move slowly, or deliberately, and they feel heavy and real. The decision to use practical effects makes the animatronics more unsettling, more present. When Freddy walks across the screen, you believe he's really there. Let your thoughts dissolve like sugar in water, sweetness without form. The FNAF movie was in development for almost a decade. Scott Cawthon wrote multiple scripts, worked with multiple directors, and turned down offers from major studios because they wanted to change too much. Scott wanted the movie to feel like FNAF, to respect the story and the fans. The final movie isn't perfect, but it's clearly made by people who care about the source material. The Living Tombstone's Five Nights at Freddy's song became the unofficial anthem of the franchise. Released shortly after the first game, it captured the horror and the dark humour of FNAF perfectly. The song has over 300 million views on YouTube, and it introduced countless people to the series. For many fans, that song is as much a part of FNAF as the games themselves. Markiplier is intrinsically linked to FNAF's success. His playthroughs of the games, his genuine terror and his loud reactions helped the series go viral. Scott Cawthon has said that without Markiplier and other YouTubers, FNAF might have stayed a small indie game. Instead, it became a phenomenon, and Markiplier became the unofficial face of FNAF content. The fan community around FNAF is massive and creative. Fan games, fan art, fan theories, fan songs. The community has produced thousands of hours of content. Some fan games, like Five Nights at Candy's and The Joy of Creation, are as polished and scary as the official games. The community keeps FNAF alive between releases, keeps people engaged and theorising. MatPat's game theory videos on FNAF are legendary. He's made dozens of videos analysing the lore, proposing timelines, solving mysteries. Some of his theories have been confirmed by Scott, others have been debunked. But MatPat's dedication to understanding FNAF's story has made him a central figure in the community. When MatPat retired from game theory in 2024, his final FNAF theory felt like the end of an era. The timeline of FNAF is intentionally confusing. Games are released out of chronological order, dates are hidden in minigames and Easter eggs. Character identities are obscured. Scott Cawthon designed FNAF to be a puzzle, something that required the community to work together to solve. No single person can understand all of FNAF. It takes thousands of fans comparing notes, sharing discoveries, building theories together. The The box at the end of FNAF 4 has never been opened. It sits there, locked, with text saying, "Perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now." Scott Cawthon later said that the community's theories about what was in the box were so varied and creative that he decided to leave it closed. The box represents FNAF itself, a mystery that's more interesting unsolved. The Fredbear plush in FNAF 4 talks to the crying child, offering comfort and advice. But the plush's final line is different. "I will put you back together." The voice changes, becomes deeper, more mechanical. Fans debate who's speaking, William Afton, Henry Emily, the puppet, or something else. The plush might be a camera, a way for someone to watch the crying child, or it might be possessed, another soul trapped in fabric and stuffing. The Afton family is the heart of FNAF's tragedy. William, the father, is a killer. His youngest son dies in the bite of 83. His daughter dies inside Circus Baby. His oldest son becomes a corpse trying to fix everything, and his wife is never mentioned, never seen, a ghost in the story. The Afton family destroys itself and takes dozens of others down with it. Mrs. Afton's absence is conspicuous. She's never shown, never named, never referenced directly. Some fans think she left William after their son died. Others think she died, possibly killed by William. The most disturbing theory is that she's Ballora, an animatronic in sister location that sing about loss and loneliness. Ballora's song could be Mrs. Afton's grief, trapped in a dancing robot. Your heartbeat is slow and steady, a distant drum barely noticed. The bite victim's name is never confirmed. Fans call him the crying child, or Evan, or Chris, depending on which theory they believe. He's the child who dies in FNAF 4, the one whose birthday party ends in tragedy. His death is the catalyst for so much of what follows. William's obsession with Remnant, Michael's guilt, the family's destruction. Golden Freddy is two souls in one suit. Cassidy, the fifth victim, is the dominant personality, the one who refuses to move on. But the crying child is there too, quieter, sadder, just wanting to rest. The two souls share Golden Freddy, and they don't always agree. Cassidy wants revenge. The crying child wants peace. This conflict is why Golden Freddy is so unstable, so unpredictable. The Happiest Day minigame in FNAF 3 shows the murdered children finally being freed. They're at a birthday party wearing masks of the animatronics they possessed. One by one, the masks disappear and the children fade away. It's the good ending, the moment when they finally move on. But Golden Freddy's mask stays on the ground, suggesting that Cassidy isn't ready to leave, isn't ready to forgive. The puppet's mask is the last to fall in Happiest Day. Charlotte Emily, Henry's daughter, has been helping the other children for so long that she's forgotten she's also trapped. When her mask falls, when she finally lets go, it's bittersweet. She's free, but she's also leaving behind the children she protected, the purpose that kept her going. The Security Logbook is a book released as merchandise, but it contains crucial lore. It's a journal where Michael Afton writes notes, and two spirits communicate through the pages, the crying child and Cassidy. They ask each other questions, leave messages, try to understand what happened to them. The logbook reveals that the crying child can't remember his name, and Cassidy is trying to help him remember. The name Cassidy comes from the logbook. It's hidden in a word search, revealed through a complex cipher. Cassidy is the fifth victim, the one possessing Golden Freddy, the one who won't let William Afton rest. Her name is the answer to the question, "What is your name?" written in the logbook. The survival logbook also contains altered text that says, "It's me." This phrase appears throughout FNAF, usually associated with Golden Freddy. "It's me" could be the crying child trying to communicate with Michael, and was trying to tell his brother that he's still there, still aware, still trapped. Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie are dark, glitchy versions of Freddy and Bonnie. They appear rarely, in specific circumstances, and they crash the game or cause strange effects. Fans debate what they are: ghosts, glitches, manifestations of agony, or something else. Shadow Freddy leads the animatronics to William Afton in the FNAF 3 minigames, suggesting he has his own agenda. RWQFS FAS XC is Shadow Bonnie's official name, an unpronounceable string of letters. Fans call him Shadow Bonnie or RXQ. He appears in FNAF 2, sitting in the office doing nothing. If you stare at him too long, the game crashes. Shadow Bonnie is pure mystery, a character with no clear purpose or origin. Let your mind become empty, a vessel for sleep, hollow and peaceful. The Fredbear and Friends TV show is mentioned in FNAF 4. It's a cartoon that aired in 1983 featuring Fredbear and the other animatronics. The show was part of Fazbear Entertainment's marketing, a way to make the characters more appealing to children. But the show also serves as a timestamp, confirming that FNAF 4 takes place in 1983. The foxy bro is Michael Afton, the older brother who caused the bite of 83. He wore a foxy mask and bullied his younger brother, and his prank ended in tragedy. Michael spends the rest of his life trying to atone for what he did, working at Freddy's locations, searching for his father, trying to free the souls William trapped. Michael's guilt drives the entire series. The exotic butters are a running joke in Sister Location. At the end of Night 5, instead of payment, so you receive a basket of exotic butters. It's absurd and funny, a moment of levity in an otherwise dark game. The exotic butters became a meme in the FNAF community, a symbol of the series' strange sense of humour. Circus Baby's Pizza World was supposed to be William Afton's masterpiece, a restaurant with advanced animatronics designed to entertain and kidnap. But after Elizabeth died inside Circus Baby, the restaurant was closed before it could open. The animatronics were moved to an underground facility, where they waited in the dark for decades. The scooper in Sister Location injects remnant into animatronics. It's not just a tool for removing endoskeletons, it's a device for transferring souls, for mixing remnant from multiple sources. The scooper is how William Afton experimented with remnant, how he tried to achieve immortality. And it's what Michael Afton was scooped with, which is why he survived as a corpse. Funtime Freddy is one of the most unsettling animatronics in Sister Location. He has a hand puppet named Bon Bon, and he talks to it like it's alive. Funtime Freddy's voice is cheerful and manic, constantly shifting between friendly and threatening. He's unpredictable, dangerous, and his dialogue suggests he enjoys what he does. Ballora is an animatronic ballerina who moves through the dark, guided by sound. You have to be quiet when she's near or she'll find you. Ballora's song is haunting. Why do you hide inside your walls when there is music in my halls? She's elegant and deadly, and her design is one of the most unique in the series. Mini-renas are small ballerina dolls that accompany Ballora. They climb on you, blocking your vision, making it impossible to see threats. The Minarinas are creepy in their simplicity, just small figures with frozen smiles crawling over you in the dark. Biddy-babs are small animatronics that hide in the dark and whisper to you. They're childlike and unsettling. their voices high-pitched and wrong. The biddy-babs work together, coordinating their attacks, and they're smarter than they look. The private room in sister location contains a spring-lock suit and monitors showing the player's house. The implication is that someone has been watching the player, that this entire job was a setup. The private room is where you realise that nothing about sister location was random, that you were brought here for a specific purpose. Your body is still now, completely relaxed, at peace in the darkness. The Immortal and the Restless is a soap opera that plays on TVS throughout sister location. It's a ridiculous show about a vampire and a baby arguing, but it's also thematic. The vampire represents William Afton, someone who refuses to die. The baby represents the crying child, someone who died too young. The show is absurd, but it's also telling the story of FNAF in miniature. The fake ending in sister location shows Michael getting fired for odour. It's played as a joke, but it's actually dark. Michael smells because he's a rotting corpse. The game treats this as comedy, which is very FNAF. Horror and humour exist side by side, and you're never sure which one you're supposed to feel. The real ending shows Michael's body turning purple and decaying. He collapses in the street and a nard crawls out of him. Then Michael stands back up and he speaks for the first time. "Father, it's me, Michael. I'm going to come find you." Michael Afton is undead and he's hunting his father. This monologue recontextualizes the entire series. The cancelled ending in Pizzeria Simulator shows Henry's speech being interrupted. Instead of burning, you escape, and the animatronics escape with you. It's the bad ending, the one where nothing is resolved, where the cycle continues. The cancelled ending is what happens if you're not thorough, if you don't salvage all the animatronics, if you let even one escape. The completion ending is the true ending, where everything burns. Henry's speech is beautiful and sad. "I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms the way you lifted others into yours." He's talking to Charlie, to the puppet, to his daughter. He's apologising for failing her, and he's giving her permission to rest. Midnight Motorist is one of FNAF's most cryptic mini-games. You play as someone driving home in the rain, and when you get there, a child has run away. There's a broken window, footprints leading to a mound in the forest. Fans debate who you're playing as, William Afton, Henry Emily, or someone else. The minigame is full of implications but no answers. The mound in Midnight Motorist might be a grave, or it might be an animatronic buried in the dirt. The footprint suggests something large was there, something that lured the child away. If the player is William Afton, then the child might be Michael, running away from his abusive father. If the player is Henry, then the child might be someone else entirely. The orange guy in Midnight Motorist is colour-coded orange, which usually represents good characters in FNAF's minigames, but his behaviour is aggressive, violent. He's blocked from entering juniors a bar because he is there, possibly Henry, possibly someone else. The orange guy goes home angry, and his family's afraid of him. This minigame suggests that William Afton was abusive, that his family suffered long before the murders. Fruity Maze is another cryptic minigame, showing a girl playing an arcade game. The game glitches, and a figure appears, a yellow rabbit, Spring Bonnie, William Afton. The girl follows him, and the screen goes dark. This is Susie, the first of the 5 children William murdered. The minigame shows how he lured her, using the promise of showing her something, someone she lost. Susie's dog is mentioned in Fruity Maze. The dog died, and Susie is grieving. William Afton tells her he can show her where her dog is, that her dog is still alive. Susie follows him, desperate to see her pet again. It's a cruel manipulation, using a child's grief to lure her to her death. Let your last thoughts fade like echoes in a vast empty hall, present then gone. The fun times are built with remnant injected into them. They're not just possessed by accident, they're designed to contain souls, to use remnant as a power source. William Afton built these animatronics specifically to experiment with immortality, to see if he could harness the power of dead children's souls. The scooping room blueprint shows that the scooper injects remnant. This confirms that Michael Afton has remnant inside him, which is why he survives as a corpse. He's been injected with the same substance that keeps the animatronics moving, the same power that William Afton is obsessed with. Follow Me is a mini-game in FNAF 3 showing William Afton destroying the animatronics. He dismantles Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy, releasing the souls inside, but the souls don't leave. They corner him, and he puts on the Spring Bonnie suit. The spring locks fail. William dies, screaming, and the souls watch. They think it's over. They think they've won. The safe room where William dies is sealed afterward. The company boards it up, hides it from the blueprints, pretends it doesn't exist. William's body stays there for 30 years, eye rotting inside the suit, slowly merging with the machinery. By the time he's found in FNAF 3, he's more Springtrap than William, more machine than man. The phantoms in FNAF 3 are hallucinations caused by poor ventilation and the building's decay. They're not real animatronics, they're burned, translucent, wrong, but they still affect you, still cause errors in your systems. The phantoms represent guilt, memory, the past refusing to stay buried. The good ending in FNAF 3 shows the animatronic heads deactivated, their lights gone out. The souls have been freed, finally allowed to rest. But Springtrap is still active, still moving. William Afton doesn't get to rest. He's trapped in a cycle of his own making, unable to die, unable to escape. The bad ending shows the animatronic heads still lit, still active. The souls are still trapped, still suffering. This ending happens if you don't complete the minigames, if you don't help the children find peace. The bad ending is the default state of FNAF, suffering that continues because no one intervenes. Fazbear's Fright burns down at the end of FNAF 3. The building is old and full of flammable materials, and something starts a fire. The newspaper clipping suggests Springtrap escaped, that William Afton survived the fire. He always survives. He always comes back. The FNAF 3 office has no doors, just a single vent you can seal. You're more vulnerable than in previous games, more exposed. The office represents how little protection you have against the past, against guilt, against the consequences of actions taken decades ago. Your consciousness is fading now, dissolving into nothing peaceful and complete. The toy animatronics are scrapped after FNAF 2. The company claims it is due to budget constraints, but the real reason is the bite of 87. After an animatronic bites someone's frontal lobe off, the toy models are deemed too dangerous. They're dismantled, and the older models are brought back. The toys' souls, if they had any, are freed or transferred. The game never clarifies which. JJ is a hidden character in FNAF 2, a recolor of Balloon Boy who appears under your desk. She doesn't do anything. She just sits there, staring. JJ is never explained, never referenced again. She's a mystery, a character who exists for no clear reason, which makes her unsettling in a different way than the others. The FNAF 2 location is bigger than the first games, with more rooms, more cameras, more animatronics. But it's also cheaper, more run down. The company is cutting costs, reusing old animatronics, ignoring safety concerns. The FNAF 2 location is a disaster waiting to happen, and by the end of the game, it does. The FNAF 2 paycheck shows you're paid $100.50 for a week of work. That's less than minimum wage, even in 1987. The company doesn't value its employees. They're disposable, easily replaced. The low pay is why people take these jobs. They're desperate, and Fazbear Entertainment knows it. Fritz Smith is the protagonist of FNAF 2's Night 7. He's fired after one night for odor and tampering with animatronics. If Fritz is Michael Afton, then the odor makes sense. He's a corpse. The tampering might refer to him trying to free the souls, trying to undo his father's work. Jeremy Fitzgerald is the main protagonist of FNAF 2. He works 6 nights at the new Freddy's location, and on his 7th day he's moved to the day shift. That's the day the bite of 87 happens. Jeremy might be the victim, the person who loses their frontal lobe, or he might just be a witness. The game doesn't say. The withered animatronics smell worse than the toys. They're older, more decayed, and they've been sitting in a back room for years. The smell is the bodies inside them, the murdered children rotting inside metal shells. The staff notices the smell but doesn't investigate. They just keep the withered animatronics in the back, out of sight. The FNAF 2 location closes shortly after the game ends. The bite of 87, the smell, the animatronics' aggressive behaviour, it all becomes too much. The company shuts down the location and plans to reopen with a smaller budget. Yeah, that reopening becomes the FNAF 1 location, where the original 4 animatronics are refurbished and put back on stage. The FNAF 1 location is the last Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's small, run down, barely functional. The animatronics are old and damaged. The building smells, but it stays open because the company is desperate, because they've invested too much to give up. The FNAF 1 location is the death throes of Fazbear Entertainment, a company that should have closed decades ago. The FNAF 1 newspaper clippings tell the story of the missing children incident. 5 children disappeared. The suspect was arrested but released due to lack of evidence. The restaurant's reputation was damaged. Parents stopped bringing their children. The clippings are matter-of-fact, clinical, but they're describing a tragedy that destroyed families and cursed a building. The animatronics in FNAF 1 are the most iconic. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. They're the original designs, the ones that started everything. They're also the most tragic, containing the souls of children who've been trapped for years, who barely remember being human, who only know anger and confusion. Let sleep take you completely now, a darkness without dreams, peaceful and absolute. The FNAF 1 location closes after the game ends. The animatronics are deemed too dangerous, and the building is scheduled for demolition. But before that happens, someone salvages the animatronics, takes them apart, tries to understand what makes them move. That someone is probably William Afton, still obsessed with Remnant, still experimenting. The FNAF timeline spans from 1983 to 2023 or later. 40 years of tragedy, of souls trapped in machines, of a killer who refuses to die. The timeline is complicated, with games released out of order, but the story is consistent. William Afton destroys everything he touches, and others spend decades trying to fix what he broke. The crying child's death in 1983 starts everything. William Afton loses his son, and becomes obsessed with bringing him back, with understanding death, with conquering it. That obsession leads to the murders, to the experiments with Remnant, to the creation of the Funtime animatronics. One child's death cascades into dozens more. The missing children incident in 1985 is the central tragedy of FNAF. 5 children murdered, their bodies hidden, their souls trapped. Everything that happens afterward is a consequence of that day. The hauntings, the closures, the fires, the attempts to free the souls. The missing children incident is the wound that never heals, the crime that echoes through decades. The Bite of 87 in 1987 is the public face of Freddy's tragedy. The murders were covered up, but the bite happened in front of witnesses. It's the moment when the company can no longer hide what's wrong, when the animatronics' danger becomes undeniable. The Bite of 87 is when Fazbear Entertainment's reputation dies. FNAF 1 takes place in 1993. The original location, the last attempt to keep Freddy's alive, the final gasp of a dying company. Mike Schmidt works there for a week, survives, and the location closes. By 1993, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is a relic, a reminder of better days that were never actually that good. FNAF 3 takes place in 2023, 30 years after FNAF 1. Fazbear's Fright is built as a horror attraction, capitalising on the restaurant's dark history. The owners find Springtrap and bring him to the attraction, not knowing what he is, not understanding that William Afton is still conscious inside that suit. The attraction burns, but Springtrap escapes. He always escapes. Pizzeria Simulator takes place shortly after FNAF 3. Henry Emily builds one last restaurant, a trap designed to lure in all the remaining animatronics. He succeeds. Scrap Trap, Scrap Baby, Molten Freddy and Lefty all come to the pizzeria. Henry locks the doors and burns it down, ending the cycle, freeing the souls. It's the ending FNAF needed. The moment when someone finally does what should have been done decades ago. But William Afton doesn't stay dead. His consciousness, or a piece of it, survives in circuit boards that are later scanned for the VR game. William Afton becomes Glitch Trap, a digital ghost, and the cycle begins again. You can't kill William Afton. You can only delay him. Security Breach takes place in the 2020s in the Mega Pizzaplex. Fazbear Entertainment has rebuilt itself, rebranded, created something new and shiny. But beneath the mall are the ruins of the old locations, and in those ruins, William Afton is rebuilding himself. The past never stays buried in FNAF. It always comes back. The Mega Pizzaplex is massive with multiple floors, attractions, restaurants and shops. It's everything Freddy Fazbear's Pizza wanted to be. Successful, popular, profitable. But it's built on a foundation of corpses and lies, and that foundation is crumbling. Your mind is empty now, hollow, at peace, finally at rest. Glamrock Freddy is different from other animatronics. He's kind, protective, genuinely concerned about Gregory's safety. Some fans think Glamrock Freddy contains Michael Afton's soul, that Michael is still trying to protect children, still trying to fix his family's mistakes. Other fans think Freddy is just programmed well, that he's following his directives to keep children safe. Either way, Glamrock Freddy is a hero in a series that has very few. Montgomery Gator replaced Bonnie in the Glamrock band. Bonnie is missing, and there are hints that Monty destroyed him. Monty is aggressive, violent, and he wants to be the star. He's jealous of Freddy, resentful of his position, so Monty represents ambition twisted into something destructive. Roxanne Wolf is insecure despite her confident exterior. She practices affirmations in the mirror, telling herself she's the best, but she doesn't believe it. Roxy is desperate for validation, for love, for someone to tell her she matters. When Gregory takes her eyes, she breaks down, crying, lost without her sense of self. Glamrock Chica is obsessed with food, constantly eating garbage. She'd been corrupted by Vanny, by Glitch Trap, but traces of her original personality remain. Chica is tragic in her simplicity. She just wants to eat, to perform, to be loved by children. But she's been turned into a weapon, and she doesn't understand why. The Pizzaplex's daycare is one of the most unsettling areas in Security Breach. It's bright and colourful, designed for children, but it's empty and wrong. The daycare attendant's split personality, the bull pit that leads to dark places, the sense that something terrible happened here. It all creates an atmosphere of wrongness in a place that should be safe. Phaser Blast is a laser tag attraction in the Pizzaplex, and it's where you confront Chica. The area is dark, full of neon lights and obstacles. It's designed for fun, but it becomes a hunting ground. Phaser Blast represents how the Pizzaplex takes innocent activities and corrupts them, turning play into survival. Monty Golf is Montgomery Gator's attraction, a mini golf course with a swamp theme. It's where you confront Monty, where you see his aggression fully unleashed. The area is detailed and atmospheric, showing how much effort went into the Pizzaplex's design. But all the effort can't hide the rot underneath. Roxy Raceway is Roxanne Wolf's attraction, a go-kart track where you race against her. The area is sleek and fast, matching Roxy's personality, but it's also where you destroy her, taking her eyes, breaking her confidence. Roxy Raceway is where you see how fragile the Glamrock animatronics are, how easily they can be broken. The Afton ending in Security Breach shows Gregory confronting Burntrap in the ruins beneath the Pizzaplex. Freddy is damaged, barely functional, but he helps Gregory fight. The blob appears, grabbing Burntrap and dragging him into the darkness. It's ambiguous whether William Afton is finally destroyed or just delayed again. FNAF never gives clear answers. The Vanny ending shows Vanessa on a rooftop with Gregory and Freddy. She's free from Glitch Trap's control, finally herself again. The three of them watch the sunrise together, a rare moment of peace in FNAF. The Vanny ending suggests that cycles can be broken, that people can be saved, that not everything has to end in fire. Let your last awareness fade, dissolving into nothing, leaving only emptiness, only peace. The Princess Quest ending is the true ending of Security Breach. Gregory plays 3 arcade games, and in doing so, he frees Vanessa from Glitch Trap's control. The games show a princess fighting a dark entity, and when she wins, Vanessa is freed. The Princess Quest ending is about breaking mental control, about fighting back against manipulation, about saving someone from themselves. The Ruin DLC shows the Pizzaplex months after Security Breach, now abandoned and decaying. The building is falling apart. The animatronics are broken, and something worse has moved in. Cassie explores the ruins looking for Gregory, and she finds horrors that were hidden even when the Pizzaplex was operational. The MXES security system is an AI designed to keep the Mimic trapped beneath the Pizzaplex. It manifests as a purple rabbit fighting against Cassie as she tries to reach Gregory. MXES is trying to protect people by keeping the Mimic contained, but Cassie doesn't know that. She thinks it's an obstacle, not a guardian. The Mimic is the most dangerous thing in the Pizzaplex. It's an AI that learned by watching, and it watched someone do terrible things. The Mimic doesn't understand morality or consequences. It just copies behaviour, and the behaviour it learned was violence. The Mimic is what happens when you teach a machine to be human without teaching it to be good. Cassie's father worked at the Pizzaplex, possibly as a technician. He's mentioned in Ruin, and there are hints that he knew about the Mimic, that he tried to contain it. Cassie is looking for Gregory, but she's also following in her father's footsteps, dealing with the consequences of his work. The scooper ending in Ruin shows Cassie being attacked by the Mimic. It's brutal and sudden, a reminder that FNAF doesn't always give you happy endings. Cassie came to save her friend and she's punished for it. The scooper ending is nihilistic, suggesting that kindness and bravery aren't enough, but sometimes the monster wins. The Brazil ending shows Vanessa, Gregory and Glamrock Freddy together, living a normal life. They're eating ice cream, smiling, free from the horrors of the Pizzaplex. The Brazil ending is what fans call the good ending, the one where the characters escape and find peace. It's not canon, but it's what people want for these characters who've suffered so much. Scott Cawthon retired from public game development in 2021. He still works on FNAF behind the scenes, but he's stepped back from the spotlight. Scott created something massive, something that will outlive him, and he's letting others carry it forward. His retirement marks the end of an era, but FNAF continues. Steelwool Studios now develops the main FNAF games. They created Help Wanted, Security Breach, and Ruin. Steelwool has a different style than Scott. More ambitious, more technically complex, but also more prone to bugs and performance issues. The community has mixed feelings about Steelwool, but they're keeping FNAF alive. The FNAF movie sequel is in development. After the first movie's success, a second film was greenlit. The sequel will continue Mike Schmidt's story, explore more of the lore and hopefully answer some questions the first movie left open. The FNAF movie franchise is just beginning. Your breathing is so slow now, so quiet, barely there at all. FNAF World is a spin-off RPG that Scott Cawthon released and then removed from Steam. It was too different, too light-hearted, and fans didn't know what to make of it. Scott re-released it for free, acknowledging it wasn't what people wanted. But FNAF World contains lore, hidden messages, connections to the main series. It's canon in a strange, sideways way. Freddy in Space is another spin-off. A simple shooter game that's pure fun with no lore implications. It's a reminder that FNAF can be light-hearted, that not everything has to be dark and tragic. Freddy in Space is a palate cleanser, a break from the horror. Ultimate Custom Night has 50 animatronics, each with their own mechanics. Managing all of them at once is nearly impossible, which is the point. UCN is designed to be overwhelming, to create a sense of helplessness. If it's William Afton's hell, then it's working exactly as intended. The desk man in UCN is a mysterious figure who appears rarely, sitting at a desk doing paperwork. He doesn't attack you, he just sits there, existing. Fans debate who he is, Henry Emily, Scott Cawthon himself, or just a joke character. The desk man is FNAF in miniature, something that seems simple but hides layers of meaning. Old Man Consequences is a character in UCN who appears in a fishing minigame. He tells you to rest your soul, to leave the demon to his demons. Old Man Consequences is talking to Cassidy, to Golden Freddy, telling them to let go of their revenge, to stop tormenting William Afton. But Cassidy doesn't listen. Revenge is all they have left. The vengeful spirit is Cassidy, the fifth victim, the one keeping William Afton in UCN. They're the face you see in the darkness, the one who won't let William rest. The vengeful spirit is pure rage, pure determination, refusing to move on until William has suffered enough. But enough never comes. The vengeful spirit is trapped in their own revenge, unable to let go. The mediocre melodies are a group of cheap animatronics used in UCN. They're not scary or important. They're just there, the filling space, being mediocre. The mediocre melodies represent Fazbear Entertainment's decline, the company's willingness to cut corners and use inferior products. Music Man is a large animatronic with cymbals, and he's terrifying in Security Breach. He crawls through the vents, massive and relentless, his cymbals clanging. Music Man went from a joke character to one of the most frightening animatronics in the series, proving that FNAF can make anything scary. El Chip is the beaver animatronic with a Mexican restaurant theme. He appears in UCN and Pizzeria Simulator, and he's completely non-threatening. El Chip is a reminder that Fazbear Entertainment tried to diversify, to appeal to different audiences, and failed at that too. Helpy is a small cute version of Freddy who appears in Pizzeria Simulator. He's helpful and harmless. A mascot for your restaurant. Helpy is one of the few purely good things in FNAF, a character who exists just to be adorable. The community loves Helpy because he represents innocence in a series defined by its absence. Let sleep claim you fully, completely, a darkness without end, peaceful and eternal. Candy Cadet is a machine in Pizzeria Simulator that tells stories. The stories are dark fables about loss and sacrifice, and they're metaphors for FNAF's lore. Candy Cadet stories are some of the most poetic writing in the series, turning horror into something almost beautiful. One of Candy Cadet's stories is about a woman with 5 keys and 5 children. She could only save one child, so she melted the keys together, hoping to save them all. But the melted key didn't work, and all 5 children died. The stories about the puppet giving life to the murdered children, about trying to save them and only trapping them further. The insanity ending in Pizzeria Simulator shows you going bankrupt, your restaurant failing. It's a joke ending, but it's also realistic. Most restaurants fail, and a restaurant built on cursed animatronics and dark history was never going to succeed. The insanity ending is what happens when you try to run a normal business in FNAF's world. The blacklisted ending shows you being sued for serving bad food and having dangerous animatronics. You're banned from ever owning a Fazbear franchise again. The blacklisted ending is the game telling you that you failed, that you weren't careful enough, that you let the horror infect your business. The mediocre ending shows you running a successful restaurant with cheap animatronics. You make money, but you don't solve anything. The souls are still trapped, William Afton is still out there, and you've just added another Freddy's location to the world. The mediocre ending is about choosing profit over justice, about being complicit in the cycle. The Lawkeeper ending requires you to find all the hidden lore, all the secret details. It's the completionist ending, the one that shows you've engaged with every aspect of the game. The Lawkeeper ending doesn't give you answers, but it acknowledges that you've been paying attention, that you care about understanding this world. The certificate of completion in Pizzeria Simulator is signed by Scott Cawthon, and paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 is a reference to the FNAF 3 bad ending, where the animatronics are still active. The certificate is Scott acknowledging the player, breaking the fourth wall, reminding you that this is a game but also something more. FNAF has spawned countless fan games, some of which are as popular as the official series. Five Nights at Candy's, The Joy of Creation, One Night at Flumpty's. These games take FNAF's formula and create their own stories, their own horrors. The fan game community is a testament to how much FNAF has inspired people. The Joy of Creation is particularly notable for its photorealistic graphics and intense gameplay. It reimagines FNAF with a more grounded, terrifying aesthetic. TJOC shows what FNAF could be, with a bigger budget and more advanced technology, and it's genuinely frightening. Five Nights at Candy's has its own lore, its own tragic story of a restaurant and animatronics gone wrong. It's not trying to be FNAF, it's using FNAF's framework to tell a different story. Candy's is proof that the formula works, that the concept of haunted animatronics hunting you through the night is endlessly adaptable. The FNAF community is one of the most creative and dedicated in gaming. Fan art, fan fiction, fan games, fan theories. The community produces more content than any one person could consume. FNAF wouldn't be what it is without the community, without the people who've spent years analysing every detail, creating their own stories, keeping the series alive between releases. Your body has forgotten itself. Your mind is gone. Only sleep remains, deep and complete. The FNAF fandom has its own language, its own memes, its own culture. And it's me. Was that the bite of 87? I always come back. These phrases have meaning beyond the games, representing shared experiences and inside jokes. The fandom's language is how fans recognise each other, how they signal that they're part of this strange, wonderful community. FNAF's influence on horror gaming is undeniable. The jump scare formula, the security camera gameplay, the lore hidden in minigames. Dozens of games have copied these elements. FNAF created a template that others follow, and while not every imitator succeeds, the fact that they try shows how impactful FNAF has been. The series has been going for over a decade now, and it shows no signs of stopping. New games, new books, new movies. FNAF continues to expand, to evolve, to find new ways to tell stories about haunted animatronics and the people who can't escape them. FNAF has become larger than any one game, larger than Scott Cawthon, larger than any single story. It's a universe now, with infinite possibilities. The core of FNAF has always been tragedy. Children murdered, souls trapped, families destroyed, cycles of violence that repeat across generations. But within that tragedy is also hope. People trying to fix what's broken, trying to free the trapped souls, trying to end the suffering. FNAF is dark, but it's not nihilistic. It believes that people can make things better, even if it takes decades, even if it costs everything. The animatronics are monsters, but they're also victims. They're children who died too young, who were denied justice, who were trapped in metal bodies and forced to exist in a state between life and death. The animatronics are scary, but they're also sad. Understanding that duality is key to understanding FNAF. William Afton is the villain, but he's also a person. He's a father who lost his son, a businessman who built something successful, an inventor who created amazing technology. His evil doesn't erase his humanity, it makes it worse. William Afton chose to become a monster. He had opportunities to stop, to grieve properly, to seek help. He chose murder instead. That choice is what makes him truly terrifying. Henry Emily is the tragic hero, the man who tried to do good and watched everything fall apart. He created animatronics to bring joy to children, and they became prisons for murdered souls. He partnered with William Afton, and that partnership destroyed his family. Henry spent decades trying to fix his mistakes, and in the end he succeeded. But the cost was everything. His daughter, his life's work, his own life. Henry's story is about the price of doing the right thing. Michael Afton is the protagonist we don't deserve. He caused his brother's death, and he spent the rest of his life trying to atone. He became a corpse, a walking reminder of his family's sins, and he kept going. Michael worked at every Freddy's location, faced every animatronic, endured every horror, all to free the souls his father trapped. Michael's story is about redemption, about whether you can ever truly make up for the worst thing you've done. Charlotte Emily the puppet is the guardian. She died first and she helped the others. She gave them life inside the animatronics, and you not knowing if it was mercy or cruelty. She protected them, guided them, tried to help them find peace. And in the end, she let go, allowed herself to rest, trusting that the children she protected would be okay. Charlotte's story is about sacrifice, about giving everything to help others, even when you're suffering too. The 5 children, Gabriel, Jeremy, Susie, Fritz and Cassidy, are the heart of FNAF. They're why everything matters, why the story's worth telling. They were innocent and they were murdered and they deserved better. Their souls trapped in animatronics, their identities forgotten, their families left without answers. That's the tragedy that drives everything. The 5 children are why we want William Afton to suffer, why we want Henry's plan to work, why we care about this story at all. FNAF is about cycles, violence begetting violence, trauma passed down through generations, mistakes that echo across decades. But it's also about breaking those cycles, about people who refuse to let the past define the future. Michael Afton breaks the cycle by helping Henry burn everything. Vanessa breaks the cycle by fighting Glitchtrap. Gregory breaks the cycle by freeing Vanessa. The cycles can be broken, but it takes courage and sacrifice. The series asks difficult questions. Is it better to remember or forget? Is revenge justice or just more violence? Can you atone for the worst things you've done? Should souls be freed or allowed to rest? FNAF doesn't always answer these questions, but it asks them honestly, and it respects that the answers are complicated. FNAF has been with us for over a decade, and it's changed over that time. The first game was simple: survive 5 nights, don't get jump scared. Now the series spans multiple games, books, movies, with lore so complex that no one person can track it all. But at its core, FNAF is still about the same things: fear, loss, the consequences of our choices, and the hope that we can make things better. The jump scares are what FNAF is known for, but they're not what makes it special. What makes FNAF special is the story underneath, the tragedy of the murdered children, the complexity of the Afton family, the decades-long quest for justice and peace. The jump scares get you in the door. The story makes you stay. Your consciousness has gone now, dissolved into sleep, peaceful and complete, finally at rest. And now, as we reach the end of these 200 facts, as the story of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza fades into memory, let yourself fade too. You don't need to remember any of this. You don't need to stay awake. The facts will still be here tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. But right now, in this moment, you can let go. Let your breathing become automatic, effortless. Let your body sink completely into rest. Let your mind become quiet, empty, at peace. The animatronics can't reach you here. William Afton can't hurt you. The tragedies of Freddy's are just stories, and stories can't harm you in the dark. Thank you for spending this time with me, for letting me tell you about haunted robots and murdered children while you drift towards sleep. I know it's strange, but we're here together, and that's what matters. Sleep now, deeply, peacefully, completely. Let the darkness embrace you. Let your thoughts dissolve into nothing. Rest in the quiet, in the stillness, in the gentle dark where nothing is required of you. Good night.